Welcome back to the Icon Diaries. Sometimes more than one person is celebrated on the same day in a commemoration of saint's diary or calendar. And some obvious examples of that, we recently had a series of videos painting Philip and James together. Another more obvious one is Peter and Paul. They're always celebrated the same day, and there are many icons of Peter and Paul together, usually in very close proximity and often referred to as the reconciliation icon. On the 10th of June each year, two 19th century theologians are celebrated. They are Albrecht Rietschl and Adolf von Harnack. And I've thought, will I paint them together or will I paint them separately? I have a couple of photos and images from the internet which I have found helpful, and out of these I have done a bit of a sketch to see whether it works them together. It kind of does, but also it kind of doesn't. One of the problems is the hands, where to put hands. Well, they could be left out, I suppose, but really, in order, unless we do a full length, which I don't want to do, we're going to have to give preeminence to one over the other because one's going to be in front of the other. I think that's tricky. Halos will clash. So I think I want to do them separately, and I would like to do one of Albrecht Rietschl. That's he in his old age, looking very genial. One of my reasons for wanting to do Albrecht Rietschl first is because some years ago, when I was doing postgraduate studies, I did a course with his grandson, Dietrich Ritschl, who was the loveliest man. He invited me to his unit a couple of times. We had wonderful conversations. He was a very generous person. So I have a warm spot in my heart for his grandson, who incidentally died last year. And so I'll do an icon of Albrecht Rietschl, but not this old person, but this younger man. And this is an etching which I think will work well for an icon of Albrecht Rietschl. Now we're starting to make a sketch of Albrecht Rietschl, and I mark up the size of the inside of the panel, the civitas of the panel. It's 24 centimetres by 18 centimetres. Mark the halfway mark and mark where the top of the head is going to be and the sides of the head, and then divide it into 4. This is all being shown at 4 times the normal speed, and I'm using a 5H pencil. So it's a very hard pencil and quite soft, and you can scarcely see what I'm doing, and that's a good thing. I can scarcely see what I'm doing. It means when I come to a softer pencil later on, it will be easier to see. The human face is divided into 4, so I've divided this head into 4 so that we get good proportions right from the start. Because it's not straight on, it's at an angle, there are certain allowances that need to be made. Certainly the nearer eye needs to be a bit larger, things like that. Now we're working with the darker pencil, which is a 4B. So it's making the whole thing easier to see. And this is where we learn how it's going to work on the panel for the icon. So here we have a new panel, all prepared and sanded. And it's yellower than previous panels because it has linseed oil in it. You can see the difference. That's white and that's yellow. So anyway, let's get started. We've got our sketch, we've got our model, and having done the sketch, I'm aware of where I want things to sit. So for starters, halfway mark. So now, while it's filming at 4 times the normal speed, let me explain what's going on. With my very hard pencil, the 5H, using ruler and dividers just to put in marks on the panel to guide my brush, and they are the same marks basically that I'd put on the sketch in the first place. And now I'm using yellow ochre with water only and a hog hair brush. It's rough and big and bulky, and it leaves lots of room for error. We're just getting the basic shape in, making it look right on the panel, composing it on the panel, and because it's just done in water, it can be easily washed off. It's easier to wash off with this gesso done with the linseed oil, because it washing off doesn't take off any of the gesso. Now I've added egg tempera, that is 1 part egg yolk, 1 part white wine. It can be water, but white wine works well. It makes it keep in the fridge for months and months and months. Using a 3 Kolinsky brush, and now putting in finer shadings with this brush, so it can be seen a bit more clearly than just the water and yellow ochre. But again, there's still at this stage wriggle room. That is, we can refine the image even further, which we will in a little while, and put in more shading. And for the shading, I've simply adding a tiny bit of Mars Black. When we add a little bit of Mars Black, that's very strong, so you only want a very little bit, to the yellow ochre, we get a kind of a green, and that's a good colour for under shading. So that's what's happening now. The under shading is going in. I'm still using the number 3 Kolinsky brush. Not worrying too much about the shading in the garments at this stage. There are a few adjustments I've made there, but the garments will be painted in a few sessions' time. I'm more concerned about the face, because that's what I'm going to be doing next, and getting the shading pretty right for this. It's not the end of the story. There's still wriggle room, but wanting to get this as correct as possible, because then we have less grief later on. And this will just about get us ready for the next stage. Well, there we have Albrecht Rietschl sketched onto our new panel, and we've begun to do some of the shading. Now it's ready for the next session to have the skin tones placed over the whole of the face in a kind of membrane. But that'll be for next time.